This is a bit different. I'm on the Sony RX10 Mark III today because the AX33 ran out of battery completely and I didn't know before I recorded this. Hi folks, I've just done a driving lesson for whatever the fuck the day is today, 2nd of November I think, and we went out to Launceston again. So I'll try and keep today's debrief brief, although it's always difficult, isn't it? I didn't actually know when we began what we'd be doing today, but I think Tony gave me a suggestion, like, do you want to go to Tavistock or do you want to go to Launceston? And then I brought up Plymouth, and he says if you want to do Plymouth, then it's better if we do it as a different lesson if you can take a bus to Yelverton, because he drives to me from Yelverton to start my lesson, so it'd just use up a ton of his time and mine if he drove from Yelverton to here to pick me up and then to Yelverton again and then to Plymouth. So we're going to do that a different day. I'm going to get a bus down to Yelverton as a start point next Thursday I think, and we're going to do some city driving, which I think will cover the big roundabouts and the giant crossroads and lane discipline, stuff like that. That requires a bit of extra input from me and extra money I guess as well, because I have to pay for 2 buses to get there. Today we did Launceston. We didn't go the long route to Launceston that I suggested last time, which is the route I know in. We went the sat-nav route to Launceston, which is down all the country roads to Chillerton and then up to Lifton down, turn onto the dual carriageway. I think today's focus was dual carriageways. We didn't cover everything about dual carriageway. We didn't fully cover letting people on from a slip road, although we touched on it briefly. We did, like, the theory was described to me because we stopped off in around Lifton next to a weirdly painted yellow and old brickwork house. We pulled in there after travelling through all the little villages and things, through Chillerton and stuff. There was a lot of puddles out, and he took me out of gear once or twice, which completely threw me because I forgot about what gear I was in. But it was to deal with puddles, and I was approaching a puddle in 3rd gear, and he says approach the puddle in 2nd gear, and then I thought I could do it in 3rd, and he put me in 2nd anyway. There was lots of, like, steering over the centre lines in the middle of national speed limit 60 roads to avoid puddles, which seems really bad to me to do that. But yeah, apparently you have to, every time you see a puddle on a rainy day like today was, you've just immediately got to check your mirrors. You've got to check your front mirror and you've got to check your right mirror, because you're probably going to need to go onto the other side of the road for a little bit. I'm not 100% sure on why. I guess it's to stop aquaplaning or to stop your steering being slowed down on one side of the car. You're not drenching anything underneath the car that doesn't like being drenched. It's nothing to do with that. Apparently it's just, like, I don't know, steering control or something. But either way, you have to check your centre and right mirror and go onto the other side of the road if nothing's coming to avoid a puddle. And if you can't do that, then you just got to go slower through the puddle, like in 2nd gear or something. And there was a lot of those around. That's the main thing. Then we stopped off. He talked about the theory of dual carriageways. There was a couple of things that stood out to me that I didn't know before. When you're on a slip road, there's quite often a hard white line going on the right side of the slip roads that you can't cross. So you can't immediately go into those slip roads. There's a hard white line and then there's a dotted white line, and you cross the dotted white line. You don't check your... You use the slip road to get really fast, almost up to the speed of the road. So once you're on a slip road and you know it, and it's not really signposted very well when you're on a slip road. I wish they had a slip road sign that they could put up, like, to tell you when you're about to enter a slip road, because it just looks like you're pulling onto a normal road or junction or something at first. Once you're on there, you've got to speed up almost to 60, and that allows you to find a gap and merge into the traffic going your way on the actual dual carriageway. He says people will often move aside to let you in when they see the slip road, but you need to be doing the speed that the cars are doing in order to get in. So you need to be doing a lot of observations. You're meant to check your top centre mirror for stuff behind you, that you might have to slow for, and your right hand mirror, wing mirror, for the stuff you're going to be merging into. You're not meant to check your blind spot, because if you look over to your blind spot while you're on the slip road at the start and at the middle of the slip road, you're at risk of crashing into the car in front of you if they decide to slow down for something and you don't know it. But you're meant to leave, like, I think it's 4 car lengths on a rainy day between you and the car in front, slightly shorter on a dry day. But you do check your blind spot just before you cross over the dotted line, but it's a very quick look. So mostly you'll get on the slip road, you gun the speed, you work through the gears up to like 5th gear, 4th gear. No, you need the lower gears to give you power actually, so you might do it in 3rd or 4th. You wouldn't do it in 5th until you were on. Go as fast as you can within the room that you've got. Start checking left mirror to see what's coming, and centre mirror to see what's behind, and then just as you're about to cross over, you swish to your blind spot very quickly, and then you merge. But all that stuff that I said happens within like a few seconds, like 3 to 5 seconds. So he went through the theory of that with me. Then we went on to an actual slip road to get onto the lift and down entrance on the way to Launceston, and you didn't see the slip road coming, which is why I think they need a sign. And then suddenly it's doing all those things together in the space of a few seconds. You actually merge really quick, surprisingly quick. And then once you're on, they got the stuff from last lesson when I was in Launceston. You've got to keep to the left as much as you can. There's a rumble strip, which is the white line on the left. It actually rumbles if your wheel goes onto it, so you just got to keep as close as that you can without touching your wheels on it. And you'll know when you've touched your wheels on it slightly, because it'll go like driving over a bunch of kettle grids all at once. And then that's just, you veer slightly to the right, and then that's your point on the very left of the road that you've got to be. Then you're going like a hypersonic rocket really fast to me. It seems like you're in a super dangerous zone. One thing he pointed out to me was bridges over the dual carriageways. You've got to look at what's on the bridge, because occasionally there might be kids chucking junk down. There might be people wanting to commit suicide or something. He was talking to me and he said his friend drove over a body on the dual carriageway once. And then he was talking about badgers run across onto the dual carriageway. I'm like, what the fuck? And he said there was a horse rearing up on its hind legs on one of those bridges over the dual carriageway, and that made him change lane once. So all these weird things to consider surrounding bridges that might make you want to check the lane beside you is clear so you can get in a different lane. He didn't tell me enough about watching for slip roads on the left entering your slip road. He told me that when you've entered via a slip road on the left, then that's a sign that very soon after that will be an exit of the slip road on the left. Or is it another entry point? I think it's an entry. Yeah, no. Is it entry then exit then entry then exit? Or is it just an entry point of you coming onto the slip road means there'll be another entry point soon after of you coming on the slip road? It's one of those two things. Is a sign that there's another one coming, and then you have to try and spot them. And I didn't have enough info on this. You have to try and spot the slip road on the left entering, and you have to try and not slow down, but try and see if you can get into the right hand lane or help the person who's joining. And then we got to Launceston. We did the bit of Launceston with a double mini roundabout, but then the places he was taking me in Launceston wasn't just exploring the town like last time. It was getting me through to a couple of other roundabouts in Launceston that I'd never seen before, that kind of threw me off because I wasn't expecting to find them, which passed a housing estate. It's not like a double mini roundabout, it was like a double medium roundabout. And then that took us to another slip road on the other side of the dual carriageway, and we joined again, and then went up the dual carriageway, came off again in this weird place, like a turning for Bodmin or something, paused for a bit to talk about it, and then he showed me a bunch of videos of how you're meant to do it and how you can fail. And then we went forward a bit and he went, there's actually another slip road on here, so we immediately got back on the dual carriageway and shuttled all the way back. So it was like a circuit containing 4 dual carriageway entrances, I guess. So that was really interesting. So the focus was dual carriageway and rain driving, basically. I'm starting to get into the hang of like one up for window wipers on. This sounds really normal to anyone who's a normal driver, like just casual, easy shit. But for me, it's like, gotta remember that's how you do it. One up, wipers on. Two up, wipers on fast. One down, wipers off. Twist up, rear wipers on. Twist down, rear wipers off. Demister the two buttons because it got condensated at one point. I didn't even notice until he pointed it out. Condensated, is that how you say it? Condensed? I don't know. There was condensation on the windows. Still trying to remember which one of the demister buttons is the one for the rear window. Is it the one with diagonal sides or the flat sides? I'm going to have to check on that. That was basically the driving lesson for today, so I think I've kept it mostly brief. Yeah, dual carriageways. We did overtake a bunch of cars, which means we got to like 70 miles per hour at that point, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this really feels dangerous. I was like, oh no. And we were on the right, so I didn't have to watch for stuff on the left or keeping left of my line. I had to watch the right and stuff to try and I didn't think I could position myself very well when I was doing 70. I was like, oh my god, this is so fast. I was having a little bit of trouble working out what was going on around me in the mirrors, like what different cars were doing in the reflections. But I guess I'll get used to that with time. I have no idea how people stay near 70 mile per hour dual carriageways and motorways going up to Scotland and stuff. It just seems so fast. And he says the more you do it, you can feel bored doing it, and then you get complacent because you're doing such a high speed. But he says it gets samey, so you forget you're doing a high speed and you don't watch out for hazards and things, or you forget how quickly something can happen. There. But it was a good lesson today. I didn't feel bad about it. The only bad bit I felt was when he took the gears away from, he took control away from me basically. He put me in second gear to go through that puddle, and I thought I could do it in third. And he says if you do it in third, the water might slow you down to a point where you might go lower than you need for third gear and you might stall. So that was the theory he gave me afterwards. But when he actually did it and took me out of second gear, I was going up the hill for like 2 miles, like wondering what the fuck gear I was in, and it was playing on my mind and making me stressed just for that point. And then we talked about it and we kind of forgot about it, and then we got on with everything else and it became easy again. Just because we're distracted by doing other things, I guess. He wanted me to go faster down the national speed limit 60 roads with the rain and puddles, but I was slowing down a lot for the puddles, which he says you have to do anyway. Slowing down a bit for the bends, and slowing down for the downhill stretches. And I did notice my brake was squeaking after a bit. Like a bicycle brake would squeak after you'd taken your bicycle out in the rain. A mountain bike or something. You go, meh, meh. It's like that, but it's under my foot. It's like tiny adjustments of the brake were going. I was like, can you hear that? There's a squeak. He's like, I've become partially deaf and I've lost that range in my ears, so I can't hear that thing you're hearing. I was like, all right, well, it squeaks. It's like the car is like a bicycle now. It seems more mechanical. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that wasn't too long this time. I'll catch you next time to tell you about, hopefully, city driving in Plymouth. Whack my tripod. Thanks for watching.
You picked up the police van.
There must be an atmospheric anomaly.
They're looking for a foreign car. A man and a woman.
And a cello. Looks like they just found us.
Pull over to the side and stop!